Thursday, February 2nd, coming back from the gym. I went extra early this morning, really trying to get up an hour earlier, kind of the Jocko life. I don't know if you all know Jocko Willink, Navy SEAL, motivational speaker. But I mean, these guys are just telling us stuff we already know, and if you've grown up in America in the 70s, these are, he's just telling you what your parents used to tell you. Got to get up early to get a good start. Early bird catches the worm. Get your workout done early in the morning. Get your sports done in the morning, because you don't know what's going to happen the rest of the day where your time gets tied up. So it's better to do your you stuff in the mornings, before external factors come into play. And they're just recycling all of this and packaging it and actually selling it. But these are just American, what do they say, farm values or something, just standard American values from days long gone, before wokeness and political correctness and all this other stuff. So I still think America was and still is a meritocracy. I mean, if you're outstanding, you can break all the barriers, and if you're not outstanding, there's still always something for you to do. Hell, even the underworld in America provides a lot of opportunities, so, and some of these people in the underworld, like the Italian mafia, they all sent their kids to Harvard, so they were able to get out of the underworld and, do some bigger scams like Wall Street stuff. But anyway, that's another topic. What I want to talk about is, we've seen a lot of news about corruption in Ukraine, and, so there's been a shakeup in the government. And, I will just say, from living here and been visiting here, that is just a fact of life here. And it was like this in America, probably even worse, 100 years ago, 150 years ago. So it's evolving here. And the fact that they're discovering it and shaking it out, I think, is progress and bringing Ukraine closer to the West. We still have scandals in America. I'm not an election denier, but there's some things that just make you gotta wonder. And anyway, you all know my opinion on that. The Republicans and everyone need to win by a 2/3 margin. Winning 51% is not convincing. So they didn't even win by a convincing margin, even if there was cheating. Anyway, that's another sidetrack. But what I want to talk about is America was founded by less than perfect people. And I'm being a little woke here. It was actually less than perfect men. Yeah, so if they were perfect, we'd probably be living in an ideological prison, and it would suck. So I'm not saying that it's okay, but Bill Clinton was less than perfect. Lyndon Johnson was less than perfect. George Washington was definitely less than perfect. So was Thomas Jefferson, definitely Andrew Jackson. These people all had some things about them, but they were great leaders in the end of the day. And these people who are too virtuous, I don't know if they're cut out, because there's this maverick side of America, and there's a maverick side of democracy. And if you have the best person in there versus the right person, it's like a Delta Force thing. We're not looking for the best person, we're looking for the right person. That's what they always say in the unit or whatever. So, so if you put the best person in power, it can actually be bad, like someone who's too ideological. I don't think Obama was that good for the country. He was very naive to the China and Russia threat, and was going around the world just demoralizing America, on this apology tour. America doesn't have to apologize for shit. If they start doing that, it's just going to weaken the country. Yes, there are some things that happened in the past, and they're big things. I'm not downplaying that, but we got over it. And now, America, especially California, leads these ideological reforms. And, even Norway, Sweden, all, need America, to stay in business. Otherwise the Russians will just come in and the Chinese will eat up their companies and take control. And then start influencing politics and so on and so forth. So the whole world, Western world, free world, stands on a foundation that's America. And America, for whatever it is, needs to, look strong, be strong, act strong, talk strong, and yes, we have less than perfect people here in Ukraine, but it's getting better. I think after this war, even now during the war, it's shaking out. Things are getting better and more transparent, and I think they understand now that they can't do what they're doing and expect to get into Europe. Now I think it's gonna come down pretty hard when the war is over and they want to get in the EU to make all the reforms. All the government officials have to register their assets. They're gonna be open to audit. They gotta, it's gonna, I think a wave is gonna come. So I can't say that corruption is good or anything, but it is a fact of life in any democratic country. And it takes time to root it out. It takes time to become an Iceland or a Norway or a Denmark or someplace like this, or Sweden or whatever. It just, those are small countries also, but that's still no excuse. But there's definitely a need. The need to root it out is here. So there's definitely, it's going to happen because there's definitely a carrot to get in the EU and get in NATO. They have to meet some requirements. And I think this younger generation is getting it, that you can't screw around. On a daily life, there's still I'm here, when I go visit a doctor here and stuff, the advices can vary, and once they figure out you're a foreigner, they're just trying to screw you out of money because doctors here aren't paid anything. And that's an experience just in daily life I've had here with corruption. They'll want you to take a whole bunch of blood tests and everything is fine, but they just keep wanting to test you and poke you and then send you a bill for that. So this is some things you have to deal with here, mentality. But mostly, you go to the supermarket, all the prices are written down, no one's trying to screw you around. You go into a open air market, they're using electronic scales. There's none of this, if they are cheating, it's gonna be for pennies. And it's better to pay the cheating than pay, Western country taxes. So there's a cost-benefit analysis you have to do. But less than perfect people always found great things, Bill Gates and, all these people, Steve Jobs, they all had their flaws. Bill Clinton, they all had, here's Al Gore. He was a perfectly moral person and everything, and, he's boring as hell and had no charisma. Because, sometimes it's this other side or this edge that a person has gives them this, gives them an outside of the box thinking, gives them some courage. I don't know, gives them those characteristics that make him a leader versus a manager. Al Gore was just kind of a manager. He wasn't really this leader type like Bill Clinton. So that's my view on it. That thing, the fact that it's exposed, the fact that the corruption is exposed, because it never used to get exposed before. The houses just used to get bigger. The Rolls Royces, used to flow in. And now people are paying attention to this and, understanding these scandals, and people are going to jail. So this is like the Al Capone times in America, like the 40s and 50s or 30s and 40s. I'm not entirely sure. I think it was Roaring 20s when they started coming down on Al Capone and all these Chicago gangsters that were intertwined with the city council and the police department. And, the FBI was stood up and they started shaking all this down. So this is what's happening in Ukraine now. And I think they're on their way, they're on their way to Europe. And I think this will become one of the most powerful countries in Europe. They've definitely got some scars and everything, and definitely have a need for military. And they're going to train the rest of Western Europe that quit being apologetic and quit being passive. The only way you're going to get peace is at the end of the gun, and maybe they'll take down that stupid artwork in Stockholm, that non-violence thing where the gun is twisted, where they have that, they have a sculpture somewhere in Stockholm with a with a gun barrel that's been like this, you know, like twisted around so it's like stops the bullet or something. That's not a symbol of nonviolence. The symbol of nonviolence is HIMARS and Patriot missiles and M1 Abrams tanks and Leopard tanks. That's the symbol of nonviolence. You know, I mean, we're learning that now. We learned that in Serbia. We learned that in World War II. That unfortunately, peace comes at the end of a gun, and Western countries need to assert their strength and be proud of themselves. You know, otherwise everything just goes to shit. You know, I mean, sorry all you woke people, but you know, we're living this. We live with the power cuts. We've had rockets land, you know, 500,000 meters from where we live. You know, so it's you know, it's a really eye-opener for you. You know, we still can't, you know, I agree we shouldn't have discrimination and people should be polite to each other and this kind of thing, but it can't be to the point where it's toxic and self-destructive. Anyway, that's all I got. I got to go to the supermarket and get some bananas and feta cheese and all this other good stuff. See you. Bye.